Okay, I'm here again using the Windows Help and Support, and I searched the 32-bit topic here. I got 30 results for the 32 bits. So I'm just going to read the number one, 32 and 64-bit Windows frequently asked questions here. Let's see what it's all about. Okay, so here's the little help page here under Windows Help and Support. 32-bit and 64-bit Windows frequently asked questions. Here are the answers to some common questions about the 32-bit and 64-bit versions of Windows. And these are the questions here. What is the difference between 32-bit and 64-bit versions of Windows? The term 32-bit and 64-bit refer to the way a computer's processor, also called a CPU, handles information. The 64-bit version of Windows handles large amounts of random access memory more effectively than the 32-bit system. How can I tell if my computer is running a 32-bit or a 64-bit version of Windows? To find out if your computer is running a 32-bit or a 64-bit version of Windows in Windows 7 or Windows Vista, do the following. Click to open the system. This is a hyperlink to another help to the applet that will help you to do this. Under the system, you can view the system type. If your computer is running Windows XP, do the following. Click Start, right-click My Computer, and then click Properties. If you don't see the x64 edition listed, then you're running a 32-bit version of Windows XP. If x64 edition is listed under System, you are running the 64-bit version of Windows XP. Question: which version of Windows 7 should I install, the 32-bit version or the 64-bit version? To install a 64-bit version of Windows 7, you need a CPU that is capable of running a 64-bit version of Windows. The benefits of using a 64-bit operating systems are most apparent when you have large amounts of random access memory. Installed on your computer. Typically 4 gigabytes of RAM or more. In such cases, because the 64-bit operating system can handle large amounts of memory more efficiently than a 32-bit operating system, a 64-bit system can be more responsive when running several programs at the same time and switching between them frequently. For more information, see Installing and Reinstalling Windows 7. Okay. Another question: how do I tell if my computer can run a 64-bit version of Windows? To run a 64-bit version of Windows, your computer must have a 64-bit capable processor. To find out if your processor is 64-bit capable in Windows 7 or Windows Vista, do the following. Click here to open Performance Information and Tools. Do one of the following. In Windows 7, click View and Print Detailed Information about the system information. In Windows Vista, click View and Print Details. In the System section, you can see the type of operating system you are currently running under the System type and whether or not you can run the 64-bit version of Windows under the 64-bit capability. If your computer is already running a 64-bit version of Windows, you won't see the 64-bit capable listing. To see whether a computer running Windows XP is capable of running a 64-bit version of Windows, do the following. Click Start, right-click My Computer, and then click Properties. If the x64 edition is listed on your system, your processor is capable of running a 64-bit version of Windows. If you don't see the x64 edition listed, your processor still might be capable of running a 64-bit version of Windows. To find out for sure, download and run the free Windows 7 Upgrade Advisor from the Windows 7 Upgrade Advisor webpage. And here's the link here. Okay, next question says, can I upgrade a 32-bit version of Windows to a 64-bit version of Windows 7, or from a 64-bit version of Windows 7 to a 32-bit version of Windows 7 of Windows? You can use the upgrade option during the Windows 7 installation, which preserves your file settings and programs only if you're currently running a 32-bit version of Windows Vista and you want to upgrade the 32-bit version to a 32-bit version of Windows 7. Similarly, if you are running a 64-bit version of Windows Vista, you can only perform an upgrade to a 64-bit version of Windows 7. For more information, go to this link here, Upgrade to Windows 7 Frequently Asked Questions, on the Windows website. If you want to move a 32-bit version of Windows to a 64-bit version of Windows 7, or vice versa, you need to back up the files and choose the Customs option during the Windows 7 installation. Then you'll need to restore your files and reinstall your program. For more information about performing a custom installation, see Installing and Reinstalling Windows 7. To install a 64-bit version of Windows 7 on the computer running a 32-bit version of Windows, you'll need to start or boot your computer using the 64-bit Windows 7 installation disk or files. If you start your computer using the 64-bit Windows 7 installation disk or files, okay, if you start your computer using If you start your computer using a 64-bit Windows 7 installation disk or files, but your computer isn't capable of running a 64-bit version of Windows, you'll see the Windows Boot Manager error. You'll need to use a 32-bit Windows installation disk or files instead. Windows Easy Transfer can transfer files from a 64-bit version of Windows to a 32-bit version of Windows. If you're running a 64-bit version of Windows Vista but you plan to install a 32-bit version of Windows 7, you can move your files to an external location manually or use Backup and Restore in Windows Vista. For more information, go to Backup your files and restore a backup created on the previous version of Windows on the Windows website. If you're running a 64-bit version of XP, you'll need to move your files to an external location manually. Can I run 32-bit programs on a 64-bit computer? Most programs designed for the 32-bit version of Windows will work on the 64-bit version of Windows. Notable exceptions are many antivirus programs. Device drivers designed for 32-bit versions of Windows don't work on computers running a 64-bit version of Windows. If you're trying to install a printer or other device that only has 32-bit drivers available, it won't work correctly on the 64-bit version of Windows. To learn how to check for drivers, see the link update a driver for hardware that isn't working properly, or go to the device manufacturer's website. You can also get information about drivers by going to the Windows 7 Upgrade Advisor webpage. Okay, can I run 64-bit programs on a 32-bit computer? If the program is specifically designed for the 64-bit version of Windows, it won't work on a 32-bit version of Windows. However, most programs designed for 32-bit version of Windows do work on the 64-bit version of Windows. Device drivers designed for 64-bit version of Windows don't work on computers running a 32-bit version of Windows. To learn how to check for drivers, see the update a driver for hardware that isn't working properly, or go to the device manufacturer's website. You can also get information about drivers by going to the Windows 7 Upgrade webpage. How can I find programs and devices that work for the 64-bit version of Windows 7? To find programs and devices that work with Windows 7, look for products that display the compatible with Windows 7 logo. They've been tested to be compatible with both the 32-bit and 64-bit versions of Windows 7. And you can also go online to Windows 7 Compatibility Center and check to see whether the program or device is compatible with the 64-bit version of Windows 7. Hardware and software manufacturers continue to update this information, so check back often. If I'm running a 64-bit version of Windows, do I need a 64-bit driver for my devices? And the answer is yes. All hardware devices need 64-bit drivers to work on a 64-bit version of Windows. Drivers designed for 32-bit versions of Windows don't work on computers running 64-bit versions of Windows. To learn how to check for drivers, see the Update a Driver from Hardware that isn't working properly link. See what the tooltip says. Oh, no tooltip. Okay. Or go to the device manufacturer's website. You can also get information about drivers by going to the Windows 7 Upgrade Advisor webpage. Article ID number MSW700010. Okay. That was very informative. This web page is broken down into internal links, so clicking in between the web page will open up the goodies. So thank you for listening.